The Hispanic shift is real, and even the Pew Research garbage polls are indicating there is a massive shift happening in the Hispanic vote. What is actually happening here? This isn't because of, Hispanic guilt or, all that other nonsense the left is trying to push onto this. What's really going on here? Today we are going to take a deep dive into what's truly going on with the Hispanic Revolt against the Democratic Party. Before we start this video, hope you guys enjoy these type of videos. If you guys do, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit the little bell, and yes, let us try to hit 9,000 subs before the end of the year. I think we can do it. That'll be greatly appreciated. So yes, the Hispanic Revolt in 2020 was one of the biggest things that happened the entire election. There's many polls conflicting on how much of the vote Trump truly won, but it's generally accepted he got around 40% of the Hispanic vote. Based on the census data we have, based on every bit of data we actually have. Now again, people may claim, that's still nothing like the Bush margins in 2004. But here's the issue with the Bush margins, all that nonsense. Bush should not win 45% Hispanic vote. You look at the census data, you look at precinct data, he won like 30%, 35% probably. Not 45%. So this is the best a Republican has done the Hispanic vote in decades. What's really going on here? I don't believe this is just a Trump phenomenon. I do believe this is a clear shift that's happening that nobody noticed. Nobody was talking about this big of a shift. So let us go all the way back to 2012. Good old year of 2012. Again, this map is reverse colors. Red is Democrats, blue is Republicans. We all know Southern Texas. Look at the amount of votes Obama got. 71%, 70%, 86%, 71%, 78%. You notice, there's only one county down here that isn't a supermajority, Cameron County, and he got 65% of the vote there. Rest of these, they're supermajority counties. And places like Jim Wells County, LaSalle County, Frio County, almost 60% of the vote in these counties. This is huge margins Obama got. Fast forward to 2020, and Trump completely smashed through what was the second blue wall the Democrats had. The first was 2016 of the Midwestern blue wall of Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Iowa. He broke through that blue wall. Then he went down to the southern border and he destroyed the southern blue wall. Quite figuratively, not literally. He did not destroy the wall. But look at these vote shares. Like Hidalgo County, Trump got 41% of the vote here. Romney, he got 28.6%. And can we forget Starr County? We cannot forget this county. Romney got 13% of the vote here. Trump got 47%. A Republican hasn't done this well in decades. I don't think it's been 120 years since a Republican won Starr County. Zapata County, another famous county. Romney got 28% of the vote. And Trump was the first Republican since Warren Harding in 1920 to win this county. This is the best Republican has done since 1972, when Richard Nixon got around 47% of the vote here. Not even Reagan could have won this. Not even Nixon's own landslide could have won this. But Trump did. So what's actually happening here? This is an unusual shift. And even if you explain, COVID made some people mad, or something like that, this is not a usual shift that's just a one-time thing. So let's take a deep dive into what's truly going on here. And again, there's Hispanic votes across the nation, like Wisconsin. There's a big chunk of places like Wellworth, Rock, Jefferson, etc. But I just want to take just a very simple guide, especially in the southern Texas, with the Hispanic vote nationwide. But again, this is technically a video on all Hispanics, but again, I'm only using election results from southern Texas because this gives the best example of what's truly happening, the Hispanic vote. So, let us take a look first at the working class Hispanic vote. This was the biggest shift according to Pew Research. You look at 2018, Republicans got around 27% of the blue-collar, working-class Hispanic vote. 2020, Trump got 41%. So it went from a margin of 44% Democrat to 14% Democrat in 2 years. That is a 30-point shift in 2 years. Even the more professional class Hispanic vote swung 14% Republican. Folks, this isn't normal for anybody to get these margins. Now again, there's major things that happened that really helped Trump with the Hispanic vote nationwide. Let us get the certain event out of the way. COVID. COVID hit the Hispanic community the hardest. The lockdowns, in my opinion, killed Democrats with Hispanic vote. This is one of the bigger reasons it swung, but not the only reason. If not even the biggest reason, probably the third biggest reason. The Hispanic community got screwed, got betrayed by the Democrats they voted for decades. Look at California, where Imperial County is. Trump got he almost won that county. Imperial County, California. Right here. It trended heavy Republican. Hispanics had enough with what the Democrats were doing. Democratic governors in California, places like New Mexico, places like here in Colorado, they had enough and they fought back. They've voted Republican for the first time ever in their lives because they got locked down. Their businesses got shut down. And Democrats were making it sound like this could be the darkest winter ever. We're going to keep you locked in forever. Trump promised to get the economy open, and he did, before the Democrats completely botched that. And you notice, look at these polls. Hispanics got screwed. I mean, look at this. 45% of Hispanics lost a job or took a pay cut since February of 2020. 45%. And that's probably a way bigger number when you include California. And look at this. Look at all the issues that Hispanics had to deal with. Had troubles paying bills. Gotten food from the food bank. This is why the Hispanics had enough. This was their breaking point. But that's not all. You just keep looking at this. They got screwed. But the second biggest reason that Hispanics have revolted against the Democratic Party was the riots. The riots killed Hispanic Democratic support. Hispanics had enough of the riots. They saw how their businesses got destroyed. People don't talk about this, but one of the biggest groups that lost their businesses because of riots were Hispanics. They got destroyed, burnt by these BLM lunatics. And the Democrats praised them. And Trump was trying to play the law and order candidate. And I wish he would have done some more, because I think he would have won the majority Hispanic vote if he dealt the riots then and there. Look what happened in Kenosha. The Hispanic vote was way bigger in places like Kenosha, where the riots weren't so bad. Right? But businesses still got destroyed, and it just was a mess. So if Republicans can just fix their stupidity and push for law and order, don't bend the knee to BLM, don't bend the knee to anybody, they can win a majority Hispanic vote in 4 years. So the law and order helped Republicans, or mostly Trump, win a lot of Hispanic votes. They have never even considered voting Republican in their life. One reason, however, that this is even happening is the shift of the parties. Now again, I know this is the 2016 electorate. I know that's what it says. But the 2020 electorate are pretty much the same thing. They just had a question in there that really inflated the economic dimension. It basically said, is capitalism better than socialism? If you say yes, well, it's swung you heavy economically right. So this is more accurate to what America's truly looking like. the Hispanic population isn't down here. That's a bunch of nonsense. They're not socially liberal, economically liberal. They're not down here. They're not economically right-wing or socially libertarian. They're up here and in the center. You see a lot of those blue dots? Those are Clinton voters. A lot of those were Hispanics and Midwestern blue-collar voters. But mostly over here. This is where a big chunk of the Hispanic vote is. They're economically more progressive, liberal, whatever you want to call it. But at the same time, they're fairly conservative on social issues. Abortion, gay marriage, the trans cult, all of it. They're fairly conservative. Now, before 2020, the Hispanics have been known to be in more favor of gun regulation, gun restriction. And people may say that's a bad sign. But here is my explanation to this. Alright, before 2020's shit show with the riots, where the Hispanic gun ownership soared after the riots, before then, this was a reason that Hispanics were against guns. They lived in Mexico, they lived in several other nations. They had cartels with all the guns, and they just killed everybody. They killed a lot of their family members, and they just controlled everything. They just believed, hey, we need gun restrictions to protect everybody against, like, the cartels or something like that. A lot of these people have bad memories of the cartels, and they were just terrified that that's what would end up, with no gun restrictions. But I do believe the riots really woke some of them up. They'd be like, okay, that's completely wrong. The cartels are its own different ballgame. So, socially conservative, economically left. That's what Republicans have to appeal to. And they're botching it like usual, but they're still naturally swinging more Republican because of the social issues. The social issues is such a huge part of this. I mean, look at this. Colin Peterson. Peterson loses. Shrinks number of pro-life Democrats in the House. I mean, I think there's only like one more pro-life Democrat in the House anymore. Or semi-pro-life. He was the last real pro-life Dem. Colin Peterson. Absolutely the last real one. And this just shows where the Democrats are going. The Democrats always used to be like right here. You know, economically left, but socially center. Moderates. They're not insane on social issues. They're kind of cringe on abortion, but still they were reasonable. Alright? But the past couple of years, they kind of made a downward spiral on social issues, but kind of went right on economics. It's weird, but they went from around here to, like, here. And that's the biggest reason they started to win a lot of the Lulber types over, because of the more economic issues. While Republicans, who usually were always around here somewhere, have moved practically here. More into the center in economics, but slightly more socially conservative. And actual Republicans, not the Bill Kristol types. People like Josh Hawley, Donald Trump himself. People like that. The real conservatives, real Republicans. They're around here usually. Right? Trump's like right there. But anyways, this is huge. The party shift is a big reason Hispanics are swinging over. Immigration, for example, is a big issue. Hispanics are against mass immigration. In fact, they're one of the biggest proponents of cutting immigration in half. According to the, I believe it was a Cato Institute's own poll, it was like 60% of Hispanics wanted to cut immigration at least in half. Hispanics. They're one of the biggest proponents of it. They want to cut immigration heavily. They're also heavily against illegal immigration, but also legal immigration. Democrats were always against legal immigration before 2010. Then they went neoliberal route of, we need more immigration. That's a huge issue, because Hispanics, they don't want to lose their jobs. They don't want their businesses to get destroyed. They escaped a lot of those countries to escape a lot of those people, and they don't want to bring them here. That's a huge issue for them. And again, they're against legal and illegal immigration. I mean, folks, they are pretty Chad on a lot of the issues, based on abortion, based on the trans cult, based on immigration. And they're more easier to win because they're naturally trending Republican. They're assimilating finally. I mean, you look at the Latino votes, alright? This is 2016 study, 2012 study. I can't remember which year, 2016. Here is what's happening. This is an interesting shift. Now, again, the education part, this has always been an issue with polls. They always claim that college grads vote more Republican than Democrat for Hispanics. That's baloney. But look at the language part. Hispanics that vote, that just speak English dominant, 30% Republican. Bilingual, that means they speak English and another language, 21%. Spanish dominant, 11%. Notice a trend. The more they speak English, the more Republican, more conservative they are. And look at this. U.S.-born Mexicans, or Hispanics, I should say, they're more Republican. Look at the millennial, non-millennial. 23% Republican for millennials, 24% for non-millennials. But look at Democrats. You're noticing a trend here. The younger ones, the younger Hispanics, they speak more English. They're way more Republican. And even the boomer ones are starting to vote more Republican. Because they're assimilating. They've been here for generations now. Kind of like the Irish and German vote. They finally assimilated after like 100 years. They finally really assimilated and finally were based on social issues. You're noticing this trend across the board. As more and more of them get assimilated, they're voting more and more conservative, more Republican. And this isn't just a Trump thing. People are saying, oh, this is just a Trump phenomenon. A social conservative, economic populist Republican won a mayorship in Hidalgo County. You know, a county that once gave Obama 70% of its vote. Yeah, he won the mayorship of the biggest city there. So you're noticing that there's just a continuous trend of Hispanics are trending Republican. And those are the 3/4 biggest reasons. First is, of course, the assimilation. All right, assimilation / political ideology. Second was COVID and the riots. And the third, well, of course, was COVID. I should make that up. Sorry about that. Second was the riots. Third was COVID. You get the point. Anyways, I hope you guys did enjoy this. If you guys did, smash a like button down below. Subscribe. Share with your friends. Hit the little bell and yes. This is a 17, almost 18-minute video. Hope you guys did enjoy these type videos. If you guys want me to make longer videos like this, please hit the like button down below. Comment down below if you have any video suggestions, real ones, no nicks and lore. And yes, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.